Today we're chatting with Katie Powner about A Flicker of Light. Katie, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
In A Flicker of Light, you have a young woman who returns to her hometown in Montana. She thinks it's going to be a temporary move, but tell us a bit about Bee and what takes her back there.
Well, B, she's 21 and she married young at the age of 20, which is pretty young these days, but that's also the age I was when I got married.
There you go.
Um, yeah, so, and she and her husband, they lose their apartment, and she also discovers that she's pregnant. And so they kind of have no choice but to go move back in with her dad for a while. And they're hoping it's just going to be short term. But of course, things get complicated.
Now, this is a multi-generational book,
Right.
and there's a few sort of raw nerves in the story, mostly pertaining to some secrets. In this case, the secrets could, in fact, tear the family apart. Now, I'm not asking you to reveal the secrets, but
No spoilers.
what drew you as a writer to this idea of things hidden and things that needed to be told?
I think that there's nothing more real than things being hidden and things needing to be told, especially in families. So I don't know about your family, but in my family, this kind of thing has happened, long buried secrets or people keeping things from each other, and it tears families apart. And a lot of times it's the truth that brings people together. And that was kind of what I wanted to explore with that, how all of the secrets and hardships actually, even though people thought, oh, we have to hide, we have to do these things, those were actually the things that would bring them closer together.
This is set in Montana. You live in Montana. How important is the setting for not just this story, but for you as a writer?
Yeah, the setting, I don't always know exactly where a story is going to be when I start it, because sometimes it could be anywhere. But this story really did need to be in rural Montana, because a lot of the things that happen and the experiences that people have are pretty specific to living in rural areas. And it's set in the valley where I live. The town is fictional, but the valley is real. The mountains are real. All of that is accurate to the best of my ability. And I just thought it would be really cool to make that as real as possible. I even at one point took a drive and just drove every little road that's in any way covered the landscape of my story, so that I could see it and take pictures of it and take notes, so I would know exactly what everyone would see. If that's where their house was, or if that's the road they were driving down, what would they see? And so it was important to me to make that really real.
Hmm. Who are some of your influences as a writer? And they don't have to be other authors, but just people who have influenced you as a writer.
Well, my favorite author is Dale Kramer, who is not putting books out anymore, but some of his earlier books really influenced me and changed really the trajectory of my work when I started reading his work. And Charles Martin is also a big influence, as well as Susie Finkbeiner. I love how she writes stories that are not necessarily what people think of when they think typical Christian fiction. And that's what I always wanted to do. And so when she started doing that, I was really into that and started obsessing over her. And so then another influence would be my grandma. She was the one when I was little who actually first told me the story about the light on the mountain, which people will learn about in A Flicker of Light. And so she was the original storyteller in my life.
Wonderful. Well, one last question. You've just been hired by the Montana Tourism Bureau, and you have to tell me the must-see places in Montana. What are the highlights?
Oh my goodness. A lot of people ask me that. And there's a lot of obvious places like the park, Yellowstone National Park, and Glacier National Park, which is up north. And those places are amazing. But I wouldn't overlook just your everyday average small town on a back road somewhere in Montana. Those are my favorite places. It's such a beautiful place to live anywhere you go. And when you take a road trip and you just turn off down some highway and go to some little town and stop at the diner that's inevitably going to be there
Yeah.
and get some pie. Honestly, those are my favorite places.
Thank you, Katie, for taking the time to tell us a bit about A Flicker of Light today, and looking forward to reading it when it comes out. And I
Thank
wish
you
you
so much.
all the success with the book.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.